Hello, my name is Cynthia Espinoza, and I'm the Family Law Facilitator and Self-Help Services Manager for the Kern County Superior Court. I'm here today to share some information regarding the services provided by the departments I manage, and hopefully assist you with steering you in the correct direction where you can go to receive help. Again, I supervise the Family Law Facilitator Self-Help Center and Landlord-Tenant Assistance Center. These departments are different from other departments within the court in that they are funded from grants rather than from the court's general fund. And therefore, those grants dictate the level of service and types of services we can provide to litigants under the grants, and therefore limit the information we can provide. First, we'll start off with the Family Law Facilitator. The Family Law Facilitator's office hours are, for walk-in purposes, are Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Fridays from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. We are located at 1215 Truxton, and our phone number is area code 661-868-5393, and our email address is displayed on the screen. Along with providing services via walk-in, we also assist litigants via telephone and email. So if for some reason you can't come in or it's not convenient for you to come in, you can always give us a telephone call or send us an email. Please bear in mind that when reaching out via these methods, it can take anywhere from 24 to 48 hours to return your call. The Family Law Facilitator is granted next is the Self-Help Center. The Self-Help Center is co-located with the Family Law Facilitator's office and is also located at 1215 Truxton. Again, services through the Self-Help Center are available via walk-ins, telephone, and email. And our hours of operation and walk-ins are available, are listed also below. Again, any persons needing assistance from the Self-Help Center are strongly encouraged to please contact us via telephone or email so that we can properly triage your case and, if appropriate, set an appointment. And finally, we come to the Landlord-Tenant Assistance Center. The Landlord-Tenant Assistance Center is located at 1415 Truxton on the third floor and is located within the Kern County Law Library. They also can be reached in person, by telephone, or email. And their hours of operation and contact information are listed here. First of all, we're going to go over the services that are provided by the Family Law Facilitator. The Family Law Facilitator is funded via a grant from the Judicial Council, whose emphasis is to assist people with issues regarding child support or the Department of Child Support Services. As an offshoot of that, the facilitator can also provide brief, general, procedural, and legal information on other related family law issues, such as dissolution of marriage, establishing parentage, establishing orders regarding custody and visitation, and adoptions. Because of the high volume of requests that we receive, the way we can assist people with their forms is we generally provide litigants with blank forms and samples to assist them in the completion of their forms. Unfortunately, the Family Law Facilitator cannot complete your forms for you, but once litigants have made a good faith effort to complete the forms on their own, the facilitator staff can review the forms for completeness. Much like the law library, Family Law Facilitator staff cannot provide legal advice. They can provide general, procedural, and legal information, meaning they can tell you what you can do. They can't tell you what you should do. Another service provided by the Family Law Facilitator's office is we assist litigants with the preparation of judgments and orders. So generally, once a litigant goes to court and the judge makes an order, that order needs to be reduced into a writing or a document, which is then signed by the judge. The facilitator's office provides this service, and this is a free service that is provided to litigants and as part of our service. Again, it's a free service provided to litigants. Another issue service we provide is assisting folks with issues dealing with the Department of Child Support Services. So persons needing assistance with modifying their ongoing child support obligations, or requesting that their accounts be reviewed, requesting case audits. That is also a primary function of the Family Law Facilitator's office. Next, we come to the Self-Help Center. The Self-Help Center, again, is co-located within the same space as the Family Law Facilitator staff, but the services they can provide are much more in-depth and more one-on-one. Staff at the Self-Help Center can actually assist with the preparation of certain legal documents, and we focus largely on petitions to establish for divorce, custody, visitation, and also requests to establish and terminate guardianships. We assist persons referred by the judge to clear probate notes, and also assist with small claims questions. And finally, we come to the Landlord-Tenant Assistance Center. The Landlord-Tenant Assistance Center can provide litigants information, both landlords and tenants, with the eviction process. So if you are a landlord who needs to evict a tenant, we can provide you with the forms and provide the general procedural information on how to go about doing that. If you are a tenant facing eviction, we can assist you by providing you the forms you would need in case you were wanting to respond to that eviction. Again, the staff of the Family Law Facilitator, Self-Help Center, and Landlord-Tenant Center can provide legal and procedural information. They can review forms for completeness. However, they cannot provide legal advice.
Okay, hello, my name is Evan Moran, and I'm here to present some information to patrons and staff of the Kern County Library in all its various branches about the services that are available to the public generally through the Kern County Law Library. So in order to do this as quickly and efficiently as possible for you, I'd like to cover just sort of the who, what, when, where, why of the Kern County Law Library. I'm going to take them slightly out of order, going with the shortest descriptions to the sort of most detailed. So I'm going to start with the who and the why, and I'm going to do most of this through the Kern County Law Library's webpage. I want to underscore throughout the presentation today that the information that you can get from us is largely available elsewhere. You can usually do this remotely, either by using our website itself or by contacting us for phone or email reference as well. If you'd prefer to visit, we'll cover that too, but I just want to make sure it's clear that many of the services we provide in the Kern County Law Library are available through our webpage or through phone or email assistance. So that said, I'm going to go to the who and the why for the Kern County Law Library, and that is on our website, kclawlib.org. And in our About page, we have some information about the nature of the Kern County Law Library, why we exist in the first place, and what we're set out to do by the laws of the state of California. So under the California Business and Professions Code, it's provided that a law library established should be free to the judiciary, the state and county officials, to members of the state bar, and importantly for those watching this, to all residents of the county for the examination of books and other publications at the library or its branches. So plainly stated, what we're here for is to make sure that information is available to those that need it, whether they are an attorney representing their client, or if it's a self-represented party that is advancing their own case in the court and wants to be able to understand the legal foundations of what it is that they hope to achieve. So that's the sort of the fundamental purpose for our existence, is to make sure that if you need information about your legal matter, that we have a point of reference that you can come and access at no cost to you. The why pretty much wrapped up in that same explanation. It's so that people have access to justice. So in the event you cannot afford to hire an attorney to advocate on your behalf, you should have access to the information that you would need to be able to properly research and prepare for your matter. And that's where we come in. So there are other agencies within our county that specialize in certain subject areas, which will be covered later in the presentation today. But what I wanted to make sure is clear is that if you want access to information, that is where the Kern County Law Library can come into play. I do want to cover as well, as part of the who in the who, what, when, where, why, that The Kern County Law Library, just to be clear, has no licensed attorneys on staff. So as it says here in the mission statement for us, that examination of books and publications at the library is fundamentally what we are here to provide: access to information, but importantly, not legal advice. We are prohibited from telling you what is optimum to do in your case. We cannot tell you what you should or should not do, but if you have a goal in mind, we are here to put you in touch with the resources that you need to accomplish that. I'd like to cover the subject of when, so that you know if you do want to visit our library, when you may do so. So we do our best to make sure that any alterations to our schedule are posted on our homepage, which you're seeing here. But at the bottom of the screen, in this section here, we keep our walk-in hours clearly posted. We're coming up on a year of having the same schedule week in, week out. We go from 8 a.m. until noon, Monday to Thursday, and then 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. for the remainder of the day. And on Fridays, we're open 8 to noon and then 1 p.m. to 3:30. It does mention here that customers with appointments will receive priority access over walk-in customers. And if you want to book an appointment, across the top of our home screen, there is an option to book an appointment, to reserve a time to come in and ask for some direct assistance from the staff of the library. We currently have appointments available on Tuesdays and Thursdays beginning at 9 a.m., with our last appointment slot being at 3 p.m. They come in 1-hour blocks. They're free to reserve. All you do is click on the book an appointment link and follow the instructions on the following screen. As to the where, you can find that as well back in the contact information that I just showed. We are located on the 3rd floor at 1415 Truxton Avenue, and you can contact us by phone or by email at the points of contact listed right here. So if you do wish to visit in person, if you'd prefer not to do your research remotely, we can assist with that too. Just be sure that if you are planning a trip, that you carefully review our hours that are displayed here for ordinary walk-in purposes. If there is an alteration to our schedule for a court holiday or due to short staffing, it will be displayed in enormous font right here. It will be impossible to miss. So be sure to check with the postings on the Kern County Law Library website, just to confirm that we will be open during the hours in which you intend to visit. So I'd like to now move on to the final question, which is the what it is specifically that we do here. So as I mentioned, there are some other agencies in Kern County that specialize in particular areas of law, which will be covered by the other presenters in this video. But what we do is try to capture all of the areas of law that are not covered by those specialized agencies and provide you some quick reference materials for them. Many of them can be found in our self-help menu on our home screen. We're constantly updating the information on this to make sure that you have as many points of access to Kern County specific information as possible. But some of the highlights that I want to cover, just so you can save yourself a trip if you find yourself in the remote areas of Kern County and don't want to travel to downtown Bakersfield to accomplish your goal. We do cover quite a few different topics on here that are frequent points of inquiry. So maybe the most common that we see in the Kern County Law Library, and to which we have devoted many of our resources, is the subject of clearing one's criminal record. So on our webpage here on how to expunge your record, if you have eligible convictions that you'd like to remove from your criminal record, we have some detailed guides on how exactly you can accomplish that. So on the page about how to expunge your record, we have several PowerPoint presentations that cover various subjects, like what exactly expungement is and what it is not. We cover the subject of eligibility, how to look at your case information and figure out whether you may use this process to clear eligible convictions. We have a detailed presentation that tells you how to use the information from the Kern County Superior Court website to fill out your paperwork. We also link you to the forms, so if you have access to a printer, you need not visit us. You can prepare everything that you need anywhere you have that access. And then finally, we cover an important next step, how you properly serve and file your paperwork with the district attorney, probation department, and ultimately with the court itself. So we take you from start to finish, determining whether this is the process for you, determining how best to complete your paperwork under the facts of your case, and then how to get your paperwork processed efficiently so you can actually reserve your hearing date and go about the business of cleaning your record. We provide you the various motion schedules for criminal courts in Kern County. So if you're trying to set your case in a Mojave courthouse, a Ridgecrest courthouse, etc., we cover that information here. We have service information for the district attorney and probation departments, and we have a Zoom workshop that we offer that you can access remotely if you have further questions on this subject. So we try to take you as deep into this topic as possible while keeping in mind we cannot advise you on your specific case. So we try to give you as much information as possible on this popular topic so that you can address this question yourself without the need to hire an attorney to represent you. We also cover the subject of adding or changing names on real property. So if you wish, for instance, to add a co-owner to the title to your home, we have a detailed web page that covers everything that you would need to know. We have the information guide prepared by our sister library in Sacramento County, which defines key terms that you would need to know. That gives you a detailed sample of each of the most common deeds that are used in the state of California to transfer title. And we also link you to some local institutions that you're going to interact with and from whom you'll need forms. So we give you the information guide from Sacramento, but bear in mind it is prepared for Sacramento County. So that's where our webpage comes in to fill in the gaps that you would need to know if you are doing this in Kern County. We cover what additional documents you would need to record to make your transfer effective. And we cover where you can get the materials that you're going to need as well. In the event that you want to do something else like a civil name change, we have some detailed information on that topic as well. We give you access to the just bare instructions on the essential path that your case will take. We give you access to the newspapers that you'll need to interact with when you're publishing notice of your name change. We have also access to a form building program plus a video tutorial that can walk you through how it is that you can do the legal name change process without having to just contend with the blank forms and try to figure out what they mean. We have something that will help fill out the forms for you using a simple interview style. And we've also got access to a library of self-help materials from the publisher Nolo. We have login instructions on the page, and the Nolo book collection covers a whole host of topics, which include but are not limited to businesses and corporations, family law, the subject of immigration, wills and estate planning, property and real estate. This is all free to access, and you can access it anywhere with internet connection. One of the most popular things that we have as well are for estates that need to be administered. That is to say, when a person has died and has property in their name, it needs to be transferred to living heirs and beneficiaries. And if you have an estate that is sufficiently small under California law, or if you are the surviving spouse of the person who has died and want to claim their property, we have a whole page devoted to an explanation of what qualifies one to use these simplified procedures. We have a monthly workshop administered by a volunteer attorney who covers these various procedures and fields questions in a Q&A format. And we always have an embedded video to the YouTube link that will take you to the detailed description of these processes if you can't make it to the monthly workshop. We also have, for any of these simplified probate procedures, an entire page with all of the documents that one might need for any of the procedures described. They're all available here for download so that you, again, need not visit us if you want to access this remotely. Finally, there are some other topics on here which are covered in fair detail, but I want to also focus on those who want to do some more detailed legal research on things that are not reduced to just simple judicial counsel forms, but something for which you want to do a deeper dive into the legal topic that you want to learn more about. If you do want to visit the Kern County Law Library, we have access to a program called Lexis Advance. This is one of the premier legal research platforms that are available in the United States and abroad, and we have access to quite a few materials that pertain to California law, something where if you want to get better acquainted with complicated topics under the law, We have what are called secondary materials in the forms of treatises and guides, which take a practical approach to the type of law you want to learn more about. So for instance, if you view our secondary materials and you narrow them down by California as the subject matter, you can go to a long list of guides written by attorneys, retired judges, and legal professionals of all sorts that cover a whole host of topics. So let's say, for instance, you are interested in the subject area of family law. You had a complex matter about property division, which is not easily handled by one of the sister agencies in the county that handles self-help inquiries. We have an entire treatise devoted to complex issues in California family law, which could include things like the division of assets in a divorce. So this is just one of literally thousands of examples of research that you can do through Lexis Advance. But if you'd prefer not to visit the library in person, we do also have access to a stripped down version of this called LexisNexis Digital Library. If you'd like to access that program totally for free and have access to over 150 titles to which the library subscribes, just reach out to us at the points of contact that I mentioned on our first page. You can email us or call us and ask to be registered for access, and you can gain access to quite a few quality materials that can help with your research. So to summarize the program today, I'd just like to cover again the who, what, when, where, why. So we are the Kern County Law Library, and where the services of a sister agency are not available for your subject inquiry, we try our best to put you in touch with the information resources that will best help you get an information foundation for what you're looking to achieve. The reason that we do this is it is set forth in the laws of the state that there should be access, free access to information available to everyone, legal professionals or otherwise. The when and the where, again, are always covered on our homepage, which you can access right down here. Our walk-in hours, our physical location, and our points of contact by phone or by email. And again, the what can encompass quite a lot. We have quite a few self-help materials that one can access remotely or here in the library. We have detailed and comprehensive legal research platforms. And in the event that we do not cover the subject area of your inquiry, there are other agencies within the county that can share information and in certain cases offer some hands-on assistance with your goals.
Hi, my name is Cassie Mullican. I'm the Marketing and Communications Coordinator with Greater Bakersfield Legal Assistance. I'm going to provide a presentation today on a general services overview, including services that we offer and eligibility requirements and how to get a hold of us. I do need to start today with a disclaimer. The information on the screen is just a disclaimer stating that the information I'm providing to you today is not to be construed as legal advice. It does not create an attorney-client relationship, and we are not claiming that the information here should you take action based on the information received. And so this disclaimer just simply states that we're providing this for informational purposes only. And again, this is not to be construed as legal advice or counsel and does not create a client-attorney relationship. So a quick little background about who we are. GLBA was established in 1968. We are a nonprofit organization that offers free legal services and a variety of civil matters to eligible low-income individuals residing in Kern County. Our founding philosophies are deeply rooted in anti-poverty programs, and we represent those who are unable or too afraid to speak for themselves, either because of racial, economic, social, or legal barriers, and consequently have become mere statistics and social and economic research data. So our mission is to promote social change and justice by providing high quality legal services to the low income community. A little bit of information about our eligibility and access to our services. In order to be eligible for our services, you must reside in Kern County, meet income and asset guidelines, and present a legal problem within our core area of practices. Each one of the programs I described today, I'll talk about what some of the eligibility requirements are, and you will know that we'll note that there are some differences in regards to either age, income, or other assets. So our delivery system is pretty simple. So to initially access services, you do need to give our main intake number a call. We are open Monday through Friday from 8:30 to noon, and then closed for lunch, and then open from 1 to 4 for intake systems. We are closed all major holidays and on the weekends. And the main number to call is 661-325-5943. And then we do have the toll-free in California relay service. Once you call, please note that our staff will screen your matter for eligibility. And what this entails is asking you some questions to determine if you meet the eligibility requirements for the issue that you have. There are times that a brief counsel or advice may be provided. Again, that does not mean that it creates an attorney-client relationship. But if it's a matter that you can handle on your own, we may advise you to do so. We might make appropriate referrals to other agencies or to certain services or to the court systems. And you can do all of this without leaving your home or work for the initial consultation. Now, once we determine that you are an eligible client and you have a complex legal matter within our realm of practice, then we will often refer to a staff attorney or a hearing paralegal for further assistance and representation. Now, I'm going to go over a little bit more information about each of the programs. So just know that when you call in, sometimes there are some pretty invasive questions that we ask of you. And the reason for this is we are restricted for who we can help based on certain eligibility requirements. So we will ask information about your income, about your assets, and then of course, always be sure to keep your information related directly to the legal problem at hand. And then we can go over more information in the future if we take you on as a potential client. So here at GBLA, we have multiple units that we work in, and each of these units have programs or projects specific to these areas of practice. And I'm going to go over all of these today. So these are just some of the units that we offer here at GBLA, and I'm going to go more into depth a bit about which each of these are and the eligibility requirements for them. So we're going to talk first about our Children and Families unit. And under this unit, we have what's called the Guardianship Caregiver Project, the Domestic Violence Reduction Project, and the Education Law Project. Guardianship Caregiver Project. This is to assist caregivers who would like to attain a guardianship of children within their homes. Now, the eligibility requirements for this is that one of the children must be at least 0 to 5 years of age. That does not mean that we do not assist with the other children in the home, but in order to qualify for this specific project, one child has to be from 0 to 5. Now, we do have another guardianship project I'll talk about here in a little bit, but for this one in particular, it's very important to note that this is very specific to the age of the child. The guardian themselves does not matter the age or requirements. And what we do with this project is we help individuals prepare and file petitions, respond to any objections, assist with mediation and the guardianship hearings, post those hearing letters and orders, and then connect you to other community services as needed based on that guardianship. Now, guardianship is different than probate court. The intention of our guardianship projects is to help individuals obtain guardianship so they have the legal authority and responsibility to make decisions on behalf of the child when it comes to their health and welfare, including school, medical, and other services. And unlike probate, this is also a project that we try to help prevent children from entering the social services system. And unfortunately, if a child has already been removed from the home by child welfare, then that would be a different matter. We can't assist with guardianships beyond that. Up next is our Domestic Violence Reduction Project. This project provides legal assistance in order to protect children from further exposure to domestic violence. The eligibility for this is victims of domestic violence and or sexual assault. Now, I want to back up just a little bit real quick. I mentioned a little bit about the guardianship and then this one, and I want to make a note here. GBLA as a whole does not handle family law matters, so we do not assist with custody and so forth. However, if there is custody involved with a domestic violence relationship, then we do assist with those. So we have a wraparound approach where we do assist with other things, but in general, we don't assist with custody unless it's directly related to guardianship or domestic violence. So what we do with our Domestic Violence Reduction Project is we help individuals file the legal protective services that they need. It might include custody orders, but typically what we focus on is those protective orders commonly known as restraining orders. We do represent individuals in court, and we might make referrals to additional services to assist with the protection of clients and children. I also want to note here that in order for us to assist, you must not have already filed paperwork with the court regarding restraining orders or custody. A lot of times we do have individuals that had assistance from another agency prepare paperwork for them. And unfortunately, once those have been filed with the courts, we cannot assist you. So you would need to come to us first, and we would help with that process. And we do have paralegals and attorneys that assist us and represent individuals in these situations. A special project included with domestic violence reduction project is what we call our Immigrant Human Rights Project. This is to promote social justice and impact advocacy for the immigrant community. And essentially what we do is we provide services for victims of domestic violence, regardless of their immigration status. So again, you must be a victim or survivor of domestic violence, dating violence, stalking, and/or sexual assault. And with this particular program, what we do in addition to filing the protective orders and with the courts and so forth, is also providing assistance with VAWA, which is Violence Against Women Act, self-petition. We might assist with the U-Visa petition, permanent to lawful permanent residency status, and we'll advocate with law enforcement on your behalf, assist with any public benefits applications, and/or make referrals to additional services as needed. The next project under Children and Families is what we call our Education Law Project. This project, and what we want to do is ensure that every child has fair access to an education that helps them learn, grow, and prosper. This project is open to all students in the Kern County area. And what we do is provide legal services related to school discipline, truancy, bullying, discrimination, special education, and other services. So what we do is oftentimes we'll receive complaints of discrimination based on some of these legal areas. And we might step in and help guide families, and particularly the children in the school systems, navigate that process to ensure they receive fair access to their education and they are not being discriminated against. Next up is our Civil Rights Unit, and at this time we only have our Fair Housing Law Project under this unit, but that is a big one, and I'm going to go more into detail with that one now. So the Fair Housing Law Project is to provide education and outreach activities in order to increase awareness of fair housing law to the community. We provide an easy to access intake and complaint system and then the goal is to reduce the incidences of housing discrimination and reduce and/or eliminate systemic barriers to fair housing in Bakersfield and the Kern County area as a whole. So we do education, investigation, and enforcement services. And those services might include investigating claims of housing discrimination, providing enforcement services for those claims, providing presentations and printed materials to the community regarding their rights when it comes to fair housing, and then enforcing those fair housing laws through advocacy with landlords. And there have been times that if we're unable to assist an individual with a matter, we might make a referral and file the complaint with either the state or federal agencies that may or may not lead to a lawsuit or litigation. A little bit of information about the Fair Housing Law Project is on the screen here. What you'll see is federal and state laws prohibit individuals from being discriminated against when it comes to their housing based on what we call protected categories. Now, federal laws are the ones, the protected categories under federal are pretty commonly known to most individuals. That includes race or color, national origin, religion, sex, disability, and familiar status. But in California, there's additional protected categories of people, and that includes marital status, ancestry, age, typically for those that are 40 plus, arbitrary characteristics, sexual orientation, identification, source of income, including housing vouchers, medical conditions, and then gender identity and gender expression. There are also some additional information regarding our Fair Housing Law Project. And so what we do is we provide education to inform tenants and landlords about prohibited conduct. So prohibited conduct is conducting certain behaviors that inhibit an individual, such as false or misleading information, creating different terms or conditions for individuals, harassment of a protected class, retaliation, and so forth. We do have a heavy focus on sex discrimination, including generic, which creates hostile environments. And then your typical harassment, what we call quid pro quo. So this for that situation or creating hostile. And then of course, domestic violence have additional protections when it comes to fair housing. And then, of course, there's reasonable accommodations and modifications that we make sure that tenants and landlords understand who's responsible for those things, who qualifies for those, what the process is to request reasonable accommodations or modifications, and so forth. Then we're going to talk now about our health and public benefits unit. And under this, we have our Kern Health Consumer Center and our public benefits. So our Kern Health Consumer Center provides individual assistance to help consumers navigate the healthcare system and to obtain coverage and services that they need. Eligibility for this program is any individual that is low income that qualifies for public health insurance, and you must be a Kern County resident. So we do a lot of community education about what your rights are when it comes to accessing health coverage, and then what your rights are once you have that coverage. We do assist with appealing eligibility denials, filing complaints or grievances with health plans, challenging a denial of services from a doctor or a health plan. And then I want to step back here and talk about those two really quickly. What those two mean is if you have let's just give an example of Medi-Cal, for example. So you are on Medi-Cal and you go to the hospital and the hospital tells you, well, we're not going to run those tests because your insurance, because of who your insurance is. We actually help challenge those services because everybody has access. Once you have insurance, regardless of what type it is, everybody has the right to receive full care from either doctor and or health plan. We also help with billing and affordability issues for individuals. So a lot of times individuals that might be on public assistance or public medical insurance might receive maybe their hospitalization. They might have a bill where they have a copay, and it might come out and might be an astronomical price that they just cannot simply afford, and they can't set up arrangements. So we'll actually help assist and guide you through making sure that we can create a billing and affordability situation that you can pay that without creating undue hardship on yourself. And then we also provide services for individuals that have difficulty accessing services because of language barriers, disability, geographic locations, or appointment wait times. So a lot of times we assist individuals with translation, individuals with disability, ensuring that they have the proper transportation to and from their appointments, that the appointments that they're going to are completely accessible, and so forth. So we do a lot of assistance, and this is all about making sure that people have equal access to navigate the healthcare system. Then we have on the other side our public benefits program. And so this program is to ensure that low income families have sufficient resources to meet the basic necessities of life. Again, eligibility, you must be low income and a Kern County resident. Now, I've said low income a couple of times, and I want to clarify. We determine low income eligibility by individuals who are less than 200% of the federal poverty guidelines. And typically those individuals are the same individuals that will qualify for general assistance and other public assistance. And so what we do with this program is we help individuals navigate the public benefits access. So this might include applying for general assistance. It might include applying for disability benefits. It might include applying for Social Security and so forth. So there's a whole lot of different things that we do. And then what we do is we provide additional assistance with individuals that have been denied, if there have been reductions in their income, terminations, or overpayments. Sometimes things like this happen because of minimal situations, like maybe a signature was missing on a particular reauthorization form or something. So we might also provide counsel and advice on how to navigate that system when it comes to denials, reductions, terminations, and so forth. We help assist with filling out the appeal forms. Obtaining health and benefits records, that's a huge one for individuals that weren't born in Kern County. So if you're born in a different county or different state and you're having difficulty accessing public benefits, we might help assist you with accessing those records. And then representation at hearings, if in fact you do apply, if you do appeal and make it to the hearing stage, then we do provide representation for that as well. Now, I want to go ahead and also take a step back before we move further and just say that I had mentioned in some previous programs that we help make additional referrals to services as necessary. That doesn't mean that we just make referrals outside of GBLA. Once you become a client of ours, you have open access to all of our programs. And oftentimes, many of our advocates here at GBLA will work together in different programs, different units to ensure that the client is receiving full supportive services with the highest quality and professional manner that we have. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about our housing and homelessness prevention programs. Under this, we have what's called Homeless Court, the Landlord Tenant Assistance Center, the Mobile Home Advocacy Project, and Sergeant Schreiber Housing Project. So Homeless Court is all about removing barriers to HUD eligible homeless persons by giving participants the opportunity to obtain and maintain permanent housing and income. So eligibility for this is that the referral must be a homeless individual underneath HUD's definitions. And you can find more of that information. And typically, so you can't call us and say, hey, I'd like to apply for homeless court. These are typically referrals that come from other agencies, and that referral must come from an individual that has classified the person as being homeless under HUD's definition. The referral must have the fees in the county of Kern. So we do not assist with homeless court in any counties outside of the area. You do have to have the referral made by a participant's case manager. So I mentioned earlier, you can't call in directly and say, I want to go to homeless court. Typically, that process will start with what's called coordinated entry system, which is 211, that helps individuals that homeless individuals with a variety of services. So oftentimes individuals will call that number. They'll receive a case manager to help assist them and guide them through the process to move out of homelessness. And that's when that referral will come to us. The referral must also have successfully been participating and completed a recovery program. So we don't help individuals that are currently suffering from a variety of services. You have to have those services completed in order to qualify for services. Now, participation in a homeless court will only waive fees that arise from misdemeanor or traffic cases. We do not assist with felony cases. We do not assist with violence and so forth. These are fees that are associated for misdemeanor and traffic cases that have created barriers for the individual to be able to obtain and maintain a permanent housing situation and or income. So a lot of times we'll see individuals that maybe had a traffic ticket that accumulated over time and became so large that they could not, and then their license was suspended and they don't have a license, so then they can't get a job, and they can't get a job, so then they can't get housing. So that's one of the situations that we might assist with. We will go in and say, well, based on these circumstances, we would like to have this information. We'd like to waive the fees or lessen the fees to an amount which this person can accommodate to help them obtain income and then ultimately obtain permanent housing. So the referral, the individual that's referred to us must not have a current pending criminal case while participating in our homeless court program. And they can only participate in homeless court once in a lifetime. So if we assist you with misdemeanor or traffic cases involving fees, and we waive, and those are waived and cleared, and the case has been closed, we will not take you on again as a client. So we typically, so if something happens in the future, this is a once in a lifetime service that we offer. Up next is our Landlord Tenant Assistance Center. So with this program, we assist low-income tenants and landlords with disputes pre-eviction. And that's a key term, pre-eviction. I'm going to go more into that in just a moment with this program and the next. So we like to call this project LTAC. And what we do is we help unrepresented individuals understand and prepare for court, or whenever possible, help landlords and tenants reach out of court settlements. Now, this is always eligibility for this is a case-by-case basis, and this is what we call pro per se assistance. So essentially what we do is this is when individuals are filing paperwork on their own, and it's not necessarily the eviction stage, so there's no hearing date set. We'll commonly see things, have individuals come to us with notices from their landlord. Maybe it's a 30-day notice to move a vehicle, or a 30-day notice to remove somebody from the property. It could be a 60-day, a 90-day. There's a whole lot of different notices that landlords can give their tenants, and sometimes navigating that process can be difficult. So that's what the Landlord Tenant Assistance Center is for. So we may provide you with brief legal counsel and advice. And again, I want to make sure it's very clear. We may provide counsel and advice. It's never guaranteed that if you come to us, that's what we will do. We might assist you with the mediation process. We do provide educational workshops on the different types of notice to vacate notices that are going forth, and then education workshops that identify what's pre-eviction and then what eviction is. We might provide case management and make referrals to other agencies or internal programs here at GLBA. So this project is actually located in the Kern County Superior Court at 1415 Truxtun Avenue on the 3rd floor. You do not call in for this. This is a walk-in clinic that we assist. And so you would essentially walk in with your notice to vacate and assist, and then they can guide you in the proper direction of how to apply for that. Now, what happens when that notice to vacate has expired and the case becomes an eviction? Oh, wait, sorry, I jumped ahead a little bit. My apologies. I'm going to talk first about the Mobile Home Advocacy Project, and then I'll jump into the eviction cases. Mobile Home Advocacy Project is intended to increase awareness of the rights of mobile home residents and to prevent mobile home residents from becoming homeless. So we provide educational services, counsel and advice, and then pre-eviction and eviction disputes. Now, mobile home residency law is a particular law that pertains to mobile home parks. Every tenant within a mobile home park is considered a resident, but not every resident is an owner. And this is where it gets really, really tricky. If you are the owner of the mobile home unit itself, you typically will have some kind of lease or rental agreement for the space with which your mobile home resides on with the mobile home park. There are specific laws that apply to you as a mobile home owner. Again, you own the mobile home unit itself, but you're renting the space with which it resides. On the other side, if you rent a mobile home from a mobile home park, then regular landlord tenant laws apply to you with there are some caveats to that, but typically. So what we do is we provide a lot of education around what mobile home residency law is, and then what services we offer to all residents within a mobile home park. So I jumped ahead a moment ago, but speaking of pre-eviction and eviction. So what happens to an individual whose notice to vacate process has expired or it's overdue, and the situation was not resolved, and then the individual then goes into the eviction process? This is where our Sergeant Shriver Housing Project steps in. So the purpose of this project is to prevent homelessness by assisting low-income tenants with what's called the unlawful detainer, very commonly known as eviction process. So we assist tenants in an eviction lawsuit when the landlord is represented by an attorney. So typically, I mentioned earlier with Landlord Tenant Assistance Center that there are a lot of type of different notice to vacate notices. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're being evicted. Typically, those notice to vacates will say you have to do something in particular within a certain set period of time. When that happens, those are usually, you're able to solve those on their own. But when that doesn't happen and you don't do as if that notice to vacate, or you don't respond via the court systems, then the landlord might then begin the eviction process and might file what's called the unlawful detainer. Once you receive that notice of the unlawful detainer for eviction, typically landlords will have representation by an attorney, and that's what this project is all about. So we not only provide legal counsel advice on how to navigate that system, but we will oftentimes represent you through that lawsuit. And what we attempt to do is negotiate what's called a mandatory settlement conference, also known as mediation, or provide representation in trial on your behalf. And oftentimes we'll make referrals to other agencies. It might be for relocation assistance. It might be things like applying for assistance for rent arrears. There's a whole lot of different things that we can refer you to. It's very dependent on what it is, and this is a case by case. But eligibility for this is you do have to qualify as a low-income individual and reside in Kern County. And then for this project, it's for the eviction process itself, and for Landlord Tenant Assistance Center, it's pre-eviction services. So next, I'm going to talk about our senior law and long-term care advocacy project and advocacy units. Under this is the Grandparent Guardianship Project, the Kern County Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program, and our Seniors Law Center. So I mentioned earlier a little bit about the Caregiver Guardianship Program. Services are exactly the same for this program, but eligibility changes. So what we do is we assist grandparents or other close relatives that have a familiar relationship. This can include an aunt that was married to an uncle that are now divorced and so forth, but there must be a relationship or a close relation to the children. And that the age of the child in this project does not matter, and only that they are under the age of 18 years old and they currently reside with you. So the eligibility for this one is an individual that is 55 years of age or older that wants to obtain guardianship of children of 18 years old or younger that are currently residing with you. And the same services we offer as before: preparing and filing the guardianship, paperwork and the hearings, responding to objections, mediation, and then preparing and posting hearing letters and orders. Then we have our long-term care ombudsman program, and this program provides oversight of care for patients in long-term care facilities, and these include skilled nursing, residential care, and assisted living. And the purpose of the ombudsman program is to be an advocate for individuals in long-term care and their families to enhance the quality of life and the care of these residents. So we're kind of an oversight project that ensures that people are being treated with the dignity and respect they deserve to if they're residing in one of these types of facilities. Oftentimes, we do investigation and resolution of complaints for a variety of issues. We do investigate abuse investigations and then report those to the proper authorities and other agencies. We do witness advance directives, provide a lot of community education about what individuals' rights are, both not for residents of those facilities, but also families. And then we maintain a regular presence at those facilities so they know that we are here and we are watching, and we're here to ensure that those residents are being treated respectfully. Then we have what's called our Seniors Law Center, and this provides an array of high quality legal assistance to individuals that are age 60 years of age and older, with an emphasis on those in the greatest economic and social need, with a particular attention to low income minority older individuals or older individuals with limited English proficiency and older individuals in rural areas. So typically what we'll do is the Seniors Law Center, if you're 60 years of age and older, you'll qualify for all the other programs that we have, all the other projects, but there might be some additional things that we assist with in regards to civil legal matters. And so that program is, every case is different. No two cases are the same. So again, when you call in for eligibility, you'll discuss, and then the intake coordinators will direct you to the right program or project accordingly. And then the last program that we have is one of the last programs we have is our volunteer attorney program. And what we do with this is we involve private attorneys and or others in the delivery of pro bono legal information and assistance to benefit indigent and low income GLBA clients and or the client eligible community. So a lot of times we might have a case that comes in that has some barriers when it comes to eligibility for certain programs or projects. But the case is something that we feel very strongly about and want to assist with, and we may not have the area of expertise. So we might reach out to our pool of community lawyers here in Kern County, that private attorneys that provide what's called pro bono, which means free services for us. And they might provide might assist us in a variety of areas or capacity. So they might accept a pro bono case referral. They may even agree to co-counsel with one of the GBLA attorneys. They might assist with legal research or writing, make court appearances on our behalf, or offer a community workshop in their areas of expertise. And I'm going to talk more about that in just a moment, because we do have several individuals that do that for us. So then we're going to talk about our other services, the last two projects. So we have what's called our Access to Justice Rural Project. This is an educational project where we ensure access to justice in the rural areas of Kern County by making sure that we provide an array of legal services that are easily accessible for the low-income community, low-income people living in those areas. So we go out to the rural areas and let them know that, hey, we're here, you qualify, and you can access our services from the comfort of our home. You don't have to drive into Bakersfield in order for it. And then a lot of times we'll take cases for individuals if you live in a rural area. So let's take Arvin, for example. If you live in the Arvin area or Lamont area, we might actually, what we would do is if you have a court case, we wouldn't have you drive all the way to Truxton Avenue in Bakersfield in order to go to court. We would then request that the court appearance happens in that area to make it more convenient for you. And then we have our consumer law project, which ensures fair and just business practices for low-income consumers, educate low-income consumers on consumer law, and help low-income consumers retain income and assets to meet basic necessities of life. This is a lot of times where our private attorneys will come in and provide workshops or presentations in their area of expertise that we don't have the capacity to provide for. So it might go over information about what how to access probate situations, how to create a living will and trust. It might be information in regards to expungement workshops or so forth. So it just really depends on what it is, but we typically will reach out. So we provide consumer law education, but oftentimes we'll reach out via our volunteer attorney program to private attorneys that have an expertise in a certain area of law that we do not, to provide that education to the community. So our intake process, I discussed this very briefly in the beginning. So again, you have to apply for assistance. There's never a guarantee that when you call, we're able to take your case. You have to meet eligibility requirements. It has to be a matter within our civil services and so forth. So the best way to get a hold of us is to call our main intake line, 661-325-5943. Again, you must have an issue within our priority area, live within our service area, be a U.S. citizen, or have a type of immigration status, except for that one special project I told you about, which was the immigrant victims, and then be low income with some exceptions. So you notice throughout my presentation that some were very specific to being a low income individual to qualify for services. Some of the programs, it didn't matter what the income status was, but everybody must rely within Kern County, and everybody must have a problem within our priority. So again, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to noon and 1 to 4. We do not have a message system. So if you are leaving a message, you are calling the wrong number. And then I'm a quick flub right here. So we are open 1 to 5, but typically 4 p.m. is 4 to 5 is our processing time for our intake for the day. So you can still call between 4 and 5, but I would highly recommend you keep it from 8:30 to noon and 1 to 5. Limit the information you provide to us to the issue at hand. We will do the eligibility screening. Again, it includes sensitive questions about race, income, disability, resources, banking, property value, immigration status, and so forth. And then if you are eligible for our programs to take you on as a client, then we will typically reach back out to you within 48 business hours. More information about all of our projects are located at gbla.org. Again, our main intake line is 661-325-5943. We are on social media, and you can find more information about our services and some consumer education on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And furthermore, we record all of our workshops and presentations and attach those to our YouTube, so you can find more information on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope this information was valuable to you. Please do reach out if you have any further questions or concerns. And as always, Greater Bakersfield Legal Assistance is here for you.